All right, let's talk about Venus. If you're a morning person, you're an early bird, early riser, if you ever looked out on the horizon, you might see a star out where the sun is expected to rise. Throughout history, this star has been called the morning star, but it's not actually a star. It's the planet Venus. Venus is nicknamed Earth's toxic twin because it's so similar in size but incapable of harboring any life. Some fast facts: Venus's mass is 81% of Earth's. It has a radius of 95% of Earth, 100% being exactly like Earth. So it's just a little smaller, but very, very similar in size. Venus is 0.7 AU away from the Sun, AU being astronomical units. 0.7 AU is about 105 million kilometers or 65 million miles. So because Venus's distance from the Sun is shorter than Earth's, it has a shorter radius. Venus's orbit doesn't take as long. 1 year on Venus is 225 Earth days, about 2/3 of an Earth year. Something interesting about Venus is that the planet rotates on its axis in the opposite direction as Earth does. This rotation is going against Venus's orbit around the Sun, making Venus's days very, very long. 1 day on Venus is 117 days on Earth. So that means Venus gets around 2 days a year. Now that I've discussed why Venus is referred to as Earth's twin, now we'll get into why it's toxic. Venus has an average Earth temperature of 890 degrees Fahrenheit. Compare that to Earth's 52 degrees average. Most people assume that this dramatic rise in temperature is due to Venus's location. It's closer to the Sun, it's going to be hotter. And yes, that is true, but there's more to it. Venus is experiencing, put it up in bold, a runaway greenhouse effect. Ooh, it's kind of scary, but we'll break it down into what that actually means. Picture a greenhouse in your backyard. It's typically a building with lots of windows, right? Those windows let energy in from the Sun in forms of visible light or thermal energy. But those windows also act as like a protector. It allows energy in, but not all of it can get back out. That's why in the winter, greenhouses tend to stay warmer than it is outside. So Venus's atmosphere acts like those windows of a greenhouse, except those windows are so thick, energy almost can't escape at all. Venus's thick atmosphere is mostly made up of carbon dioxide. There's also some sulfuric acid clouds in the mix. As we know, carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. It contributes to this greenhouse effect. The atmosphere keeps letting energy in and heating up the planet to the point where no water or life can be found on it. Because of this lack of water, Venus's terrain consists of volcanoes, rifts, mountains, and plateaus. The Soviets' exploration of Venus, Venera, actually landed spacecrafts on Venus's surface and was able to take pictures of it. This picture shows a very rocky terrain. Those rocks are very similar to basalt, found here on Earth in ocean crusts. You might notice a yellow tint to this image. And no, there's not a filter on it. Venus's atmosphere acts like a filter itself. Venus's atmosphere filters out any blue light, so everything appears to be a little more yellow. We can dive a little bit deeper into this coloring by looking at Venus's atmospheric elements emission spectra. Some of the most common elements in Venus's atmosphere are carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and sulfur. These colors on these emission spectra represent the colors that those elements emit in visible light. As we can see, carbon, one of the most abundant elements, has a very, very prominent yellow emission. And we can see across all of these spectra, yellow, orange, red are very common. That's why Venus has a yellowish, orangish tint to it. The last thing that I wanted to mention is famous physicist, astronomer, and engineer Galileo Galilei. Galileo studied Venus quite a bit, and that study of Venus actually contributed to the reason why he was condemned by the Roman Catholic Church. Galileo observed Venus and noticed that on Earth, we were able to see all of Venus's phases. Think of phases of the moon. We would see Venus as a crescent. We would see half Venus. We would see waxing, waning gibbous phoenixes. But the thing is, we wouldn't be able to see those if Venus revolved around Earth. The Earth being the center of the solar system is known as the geocentric model. That is what the Roman Catholic Church believed in. However, Galileo's observations supported the heliocentric model, the fact that the sun is the center of our solar system. Because of this, and because Galileo was so outspoken about his research and his support of the heliocentric model, the Roman Catholic Church condemned him. In 1633, Galileo was condemned from the church, forced to recant his discoveries, and placed under house arrest until his death. We now know the heliocentric model to be true. It seems like common knowledge for you and I. What surprises me is that it wasn't until 1984, more than 350 years later, that the Roman Catholic Church admitted the wrongdoing of condemning Galileo. Even before their statement, there was a 13-year investigation going on within the church on the situation. The whole thing really baffles me. And it also begs the question if during that time people were still being taught the geocentric model when we knew heliocentric to be true. Anyways, there's a short debrief on Venus, Earth's toxic twin, the second planet from the sun. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.